Good evening, dear participants and partakers. I'm delighted to welcome you all on the third day, week two of International Faculty Development Program on Literature, Society and Thoughts, an effort towards sustainable development, organized by the Department of Languages under the aegis of Human Resource Development Cell, Integral University. Recommencing our small initiative to contribute in the promotion of sustainable development, the session today will focus on one of the most significant locale of sustainability, the South Asian Association for Regional Cooperation, aka SAARC. The SAARC member states have given high priority to systematically addressing the pressing environmental challenges through enhanced collaboration, partnership, and regional cooperation towards conservation, protection, and management of our environment. Yet, the outcome is not as anticipated. Lastly, our noted speaker today will reflect on the challenges and review of sustainability in the SAARC. I'm pleased to introduce Professor Nagendra Kumar from Indian Institute of Technology, IIT Roorkee. Sir specializes in English literature, language, and communication studies. Sir has earned his PhD in 1998 on the fiction of Bharati Mukherjee, which is one of the earliest full-length critical studies available on Bharati Mukherjee. Besides publishing a widely reviewed book, he has published nearly 100 research papers in reputed national and international journals, conference proceedings, and edited volumes. Sir has delivered invited lectures and plenary talks in dozens of FGPs around the country, besides presenting research papers in the international conferences in Denmark, Austria, Oman, Canada, Singapore, Switzerland, Poland, and Czech Republic. So has successfully conducted around 10 AICTE sponsored short-term courses and workshops on various aspects of teaching pedagogy, soft skill, communication, and culture. Sir has been the recipient of Outstanding Teacher Award of IIT Roorkee for the year 2050. Currently, Sir is the head of Department of Humanities and Social Sciences, IIT Roorkee. Dear Sir, I hope our participants are as excited as I am for your session. Over to you, sir.
Thank you very much for this generous introduction. Just one correction at the outset. I completed my term as head of the department, so somebody else has taken over. So that was um, an information update. Um, I'm delighted to be part of this very timely and important discussion when the whole world is struggling with the climate change and the challenges posed by the climate change. Sustainability is the key word, and all of us are concerned about this particular word, how to make our living sustainable, how to bridge the gap that has uh, been created between the humans and the natural environment. So obviously this is something which is very important as humans. Since we decided to make this world anthropocentric and we considered ourselves in the center of things, well, at that point in time, we also realized our importance and responsibilities. Somehow, the importance gained prominence over responsibilities. Well, friends, we are one of the largest democracies in the world, and all of us know how the democratic form of government sustains and operates. So, this is something which is based on the idea that the people are responsible, dutiful citizens. And same is the case with this anthropocentric idea of this universe. that humans being the most, uh, as we claim to be, the most intellectually sound, or maybe the beings who have understanding of all other things on this planet, well, should be in the center. But then, have we done enough to be in the center? Have we not started taking advantage of being in the center? Have we not started, over exploiting the nature for our own good? These are some of the questions that are doing the rounds of late. The entire world is struggling to find answers to the questions of climatic changes and the natural hazards that are popping up in different forms and shapes. Well, we have just been recovering from one of the worst, calamities on this planet Earth, in the form of, let's say, COVID-19. And this again has put a big question mark on our sustainability on this planet. So, as humans, if we have to sustain, we sustain with nature, and we sustain if we take care of ecology. So, this a small presentation is about two things. First, I'll be talking about traditional ecological knowledge, that is TEK. Traditional ecological knowledge, I'll define that, and I'll also try to locate it in academia as well as in the uh, policy making bodies as well. And the second thing, the idea of a sacred groove. So I'll talk about these two through a small presentation that I have, and if I'm allowed, I'll share my presentation. Um, Let me see. Um, can you help me in sharing?
So you can find that in settings in the layout, you share a screen
Present
share presentation and option. Yes, sir. So you have to click that.
share screen is, yeah, but nothing is coming. Yeah, got it, got it. Yeah,
Yes.
so can
So,
you see my slides? Are
so
my
just a second,
slides
I'm adding you. Yes, sir. So it's visible now.
okay? Let me check if it is moving as well. Um, is it moving?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. It is.
Okay, okay, fine, fine. So, friends, I'm going to talk about towards a sustainable living, traditional ecological knowledge, and sacred groups in India. So, these two key terms, traditional ecological knowledge, that is TEK, and then sacred groups, that is SG, they are, in the center of my talk. First of all, let's try to make sense of this TEK, that is traditional ecosystem knowledge. Although all of us may be clear about it, because it's not that difficult to understand, but yes, to put it in perspective, we can define it as knowledge, practices, and beliefs developed by indigenous and local communities over generations regarding their interactions with the environment. So, when we talk about traditional ecosystem knowledge, we are talking about the knowledge system that we have developed about our ecosystem traditionally over generations. And this has been transmitted to us in the different forms like stories, songs, folklore, proverbs, cultural values, beliefs, rituals, community, and local knowledge. Likewise, this has also been contributed to by observation and experience, and this has also been uh, displayed by our ecocentric approach to living. Like all natural elements are linked with their culture and are equal shareholders in the society. This is how the traditional ecosystem people believe. So they believe that nature is an integral part of their existence, and this is how they have developed a deep sense of affinity and understanding of their ecological system. So, one of the questions that comes to our mind, and that is a very valid and important question, is what role does TEK, traditional ecological knowledge, play in our sustainability debate? So, if I talk about it, and I'm just talking about its key roles in India, but believe me, this is something which is universal, and this may be applicable to other countries as well. Although my examples will come from India, and that's why I'm specifically focusing on traditional ecological knowledge in India. So, to me, it appears that TEK plays a key role in these six areas that I have mentioned here. First of all, it plays a very important role in biodiversity conservation. The second thing is it promotes sustainable resource management. The third thing is it helps in climate change adaptation. And the fourth uh, thing is ecosystem restoration. So, traditional ecological knowledge contributes to ecosystem restoration. It also plays a significant role in policy formulation and decision making, especially regarding the sustainable environment and ecological practices. And lastly, it also helps in preservation of cultural heritage. So we'll talk about TEK with reference to all these six advantages that I have talked about. First of all, biodiversity conservation. Now, all of us know that this world is, home to different species of plants and animals, and they all play their respective parts in keeping this world as it is. And any kind of imbalance results in disaster. So, at a time when the whole world is, struggling with lot of natural hazards and disasters, obviously there is some kind of imbalance that has been created by over exploitation or overlooking of natural resources. When we talk about biodiversity conservation, um, and the role of TEK, all of us know that TEK, traditional ecological knowledge, uh, gives the practitioners of it a deep understanding of the medicinal properties, ecological roles, and sustainable harvesting practices of various species. And it also helps in identifying and conserving biodiversity rich areas, protecting endangered species, and preventing the loss of traditional crop varieties and medicinal plants. So, all of us know that people who practice or those who inherit this TEK, they're better equipped compared to other people who are lacking in it. For example, I can talk about a couple of such examples, like Soliga tribe in Giligiri Rangaswamy Temple Tiger Reserve in Karnataka. So this tribe has been very effective in using its traditional knowledge in conserving various species of plants and animals in that particular region, and it's because they have been practicing this for generations, and the same is being passed on to each subsequent generation through their folklore, through their oral narratives, and through their religious and social practices as well. Likewise, the indigenous communities in the Western Ghats region have wonderful knowledge of the medicinal plants, and they know how to harvest them, and that's why they are contributing immensely to the conservation of biodiversity and preservation of these medicinal, uh, rare variety medicinal plant species. Otherwise, they will be lost, and so will not be able to harness their benefits. Well, at a time when scientific knowledge is taking precedence over the traditional knowledge, which is mostly considered unscientific or irrational, it becomes very important for us to realize that there are certain things that are learned over generations, and there are people who may not be scientifically so advanced, who may not be rational if we apply our modern means or modern tools to acknowledge, but still they are very important people, because what they have learned is something which cannot be learned otherwise. I still remember I had one I mean a grandfather. He was the maternal uncle of my father, and he was a wonderful, uh, wonderful knower of medicinal plants, the Ayurveda in India. And I remember on many occasions when I was just walking with him, I was trying to get maximum out of him, and he would talk to each and every flora and fauna on the way, and he knew each and everything. If we have, let's say, stomach ache, headache, or something, he would just pick some leaves and will give us immediately as doses, and magically it will work wonders, and our pain will disappear. And I'm still looking for such a person now, uh, even after so many people, having their PhD degrees in Ayurveda. There may be very few people uh, who might have such wonderful understanding of flora and fauna and identification of medical or medicinal plants. So that's why, the indigenous communities living in the Western Ghats become so important. Likewise, the coastal communities in Kerala, especially Kandalas, you know, they have wonderful knowledge of fish, and so they are, very effectively protecting fish population and also conserving marine ecosystem. So, uh, one of the most important, aspects of TEK is biodiversity conservation. The second thing we can talk about is sustainable resource management. Well, the word sustainable is key to this international faculty development program, and I really, appreciate the organizers for choosing it as a keyword, because this is really very important. Now, all but we are concerned about this sustainable resource management, because the natural resources are depleting very fast, and we are really concerned what legacy we are going to leave for our future generation. So when we talk about sustainable resource management, we are talking about techniques that are developed by indigenous and local communities for agriculture, forestry, water management, fishing management, and so on and so forth. And it certainly improves resource efficiency as it minimizes environmental impact and enhances food security. So, uh, their traditional practices are also good in the sense they can mitigate lot of ill effects of modern day harvesting, in which to harvest more and more we are administering a lot of fertilizers and a lot of pesticides, and they are also affecting the health and causing health hazards to the people, to the same people for whom we are cultivating them. And that is the reason why now organic farming and organic products are gaining so much importance in the international market. uh, when we look at these people who have this wonderful knowledge of their own ecological system, they have evolved the practices uh, in agriculture, forestry, water management, or fishing management, or so on and so forth, uh, that have been developed over centuries and have taken care of uh, uh, taken care of all impending problems, how to tackle them. So I can here talk about two examples. Like there is one very important tribe in Arunachal Pradesh, the northeastern state of India, the Apatani tribe, and they practice a kind of unique form of agriculture which is called paddy cum fish cultivation, in which they simultaneously cultivate both paddy and fish. And all of us know that this is the staple diet of many people in many parts of the world, including in many parts of the country as well. uh, this is not unique to Patani tribes of Arunachal alone. This is practiced in other countries as well, like China, Japan, Malaysia, Thailand. In these countries also, this is being cultivated. So, in this, what is happening? They are preserving the soil, and they are also accounting for a farming method in which the role of fertilizer and pesticides is also being minimized, so the yield that is coming is more, let's say, health friendly, and at the same time the yield is also more. And at the same time we can also say that they are making proper use of land, and so they are sort of preserving it as well. Likewise, the field tribe in Madhya Pradesh practices rotational farming, in which it leaves the fields uh, like that for 1 year. Every alternate year, they leave it like that to rejuvenate and regenerate, and then they cultivate it. So that way, they are providing it time to recapitulate itself or recuperate from whatever nutritional loss is there, and that way they are uh, preserving it for a greater time. Otherwise, if we cultivate it every year and try to get maximum by administrating all sorts of artificial methods, maybe for a couple of years we might be able to get more, but then ultimately the soil will turn barren. So that's why TK can work wonders in the sustainable resource management as well, because these people are living in close communion to nature, and that's why they have cultivated the virtues of water conservation, or uh, the more sustainable ways of agriculture or forestry and so on. Next, we can talk about climate change adaptation. As I said, all of us are concerned about the climatic changes around the world. We have seen the health hazards, the natural hazards arising because of this climate change. Well, the countries where people had never experienced heat, now, you know, it is going beyond control, and they don't have an answer to that. So, climate change adaptation is again one of the challenges that can be tackled with TEK, that is traditional ecological knowledge, because this has not come suddenly. This has also come gradually, and with this gradual change, the people who have been living with nature, they have adapted quite nicely to that. So, observations of natural indicators, weather patterns, ecological cues that these people have gained uh, through their traditional knowledge, uh, it really helps them in better anticipating and responding to climatic variations. So, this TK contributes and enhances resilience um, to the development of context specific strategies for local communities. So, local communities have adapted better than anybody else, and we can certainly take a leaf out of that. And if we align well with them and use their understanding of their local ecological condition, uh, probably we can come up with ways that might help us better adapt to these climatic changes. So here I can just quote a couple of examples, like indigenous communities in Ladakh, one of the highest regions in India, which is very harsh as far as climatic conditions are concerned, because it's half of the year it is frozen. So, indigenous communities in Ladakh, such as the Bakarwal and Changpa nomads, have developed traditional ecological knowledge for herding livestock in high altitude regions. Now, this is again something which can be learned from them, because in high altitude regions where uh, the climatic conditions are so harsh, it's so difficult to herd the livestock, but then they have developed ways of herding their livestock, and that is how they are protecting them. Likewise, the coastal communities in Tamil Nadu have knowledge of indigenous varieties of salt tolerant rice that can withstand saline water intrusion caused by climate change. So these are some of the knowledges, uh, some of the practices that are practiced by indigenous people can be harnessed for better good of the mankind. The next thing the TK might contribute to is the ecosystem restoration. Now, ecosystem restoration can work wonders at a time when we are really bothered about, the fast depleting ecosystem. So rehabilitation of degraded landscapes, restoration of forests, revival of traditional water management systems, they can provide answer to a lot of our problems. Now, degrading landscapes are proving very, very uh, difficult for us, and if we can restore them, probably we can leave something for our progeny. Likewise, forest cutting, fast depleting, forest is causing lot of imbalance in the ecological system, and either it is resulting in lot of floods, or it is resulting in drought, or such natural hazards that are getting out of control. Likewise, lot of people around the world are struggling with lack of water, and so the governments are out to preserve water, and they are coming up uh, with the idea of the more traditional and conservative means of water conservation. So these ecosystem people can really come handy when we have to restore our ecosystem. If we talk about India, India harnesses the expertise and wisdom of local communities to restore ecosystems and promote sustainable land use practices. For example, the Kani tribe in Kerala has been actively involved in the conservation and restoration of Agastyamalai Biosphere Sphere Reserve. So, the other regions can also come up with ideas like this and can learn from Kani tribe. So the next we can talk about is policy formulation um, and decision making. Now, most of the problems can be avoided if the decision makers, make their decisions and formulate their policies in consultation with the people who are knowledgeable, the people who are getting affected by that particular policy. So that's why it's very important that any policy formulation or decision making pertaining to ecological issues um, must take into account the traditional ecological knowledge of the indigenous local population. So it ensures that the indigenous voices and perspectives are included in the decision making process, and it also promotes what we can call a participatory approach to the preservation of nature, and it will help in creating a more holistic and sustainable environmental policy decision, uh, which is really the need of the hour. Uh, like in India, the Forest Rights Act of 2006 also recognizes the rights of indigenous and forest dwelling communities over forest resources. And as such, any decision taken by the government of India takes into account the voices of the local indigenous people. Well, I live in the state of Uttarakhand, which is very rich in biodiversity, one of the Himalayan states in India. And here we have one Padam Sri Dr. Anil Joshi ji, who has been fighting for the ecological restoration uh, throughout his life. And during his talks, he emphasizes on one of the things, that is, you know, acknowledgement of the contribution of the people who are preserving the biodiversity and who are very much part of it, who live on forests for their sustenance, and at the same time they take care of the forest. And he has been fighting with the government to, uh, give them green bonus for what they have been doing. So such recognition um, of the people who have been in the real sense contributing to the preservation of ecosystem will certainly be helpful, and will certainly be a very encouraging step. Likewise, the National Biodiversity Authority in India also engages with local communities to gather their knowledge and perspective on biodiversity conservation. So, uh, all the countries of the world can take into account the contributions, the knowledge that the local populace has about the ecosystem, because they may be termed as ecosystem people who are very close to their ecosystem, and so they have developed certain environmental practices that are conducive to its uh, sustainability and growth. The next, it can also preserve the cultural heritage. So, when we talk about traditional ecological knowledge and we take it into account, we preserve it. We are not only preserving that knowledge, we are also preserving the cultures, those indigenous cultures, customs, and spiritual practices that are part of the cultural heritage of such people. So traditional ecological knowledge is intertwined with indigenous cultures, customs, and spirituality, and it preserves the cultural heritage and also promotes social inclusivity, in the sense these people are not left unattended. These people are not treated as untouchables. These people are not kept separate for practicing something which is considered taboo by the modern educated lot. So, by preserving these traditional knowledge systems, we are not only harnessing the benefits of them, but also we are promoting the cultural heritage of the people who have been practicing them. We are allowing them access and ownership in the modern world as well. So it fosters in a sense the sense of pride and ownership in those indigenous communities, and it encourages their active participation in environmental conservation, and they are more encouraged to contribute to that. So, for example, we can talk about again the northeastern part of India, which is so rich in indigenous communities and tribes. So, in northeast India, uh, such indigenous tribes as Naga, Mizo, Khasi, they have deep connections with their local environments and natural resources, and in fact, they have modeled their lives on the flora and fauna around them, and they form part of their existence. So by venerating them, by promoting them, by acknowledging them, we are also acknowledging the existence of these Nagas, Mizos, and Khasis, and we are also acknowledging their contribution in preserving those traditional ecological knowledge systems. Likewise, Bisnoi tribes in Rajasthan, Bisnoi community rather, practices a sacred groove tradition. As I proposed, I'll be basically talking about two things. So right now I'm talking about TEK, that is traditional ecological knowledge, and after this I'll talk about sacred groove. So the Vishnoi community in Rajasthan practices this sacred groove tradition where certain forest areas are protected and they are considered sacred. So let's talk about this sacred grooves. We have already seen how TK is playing a very important role and has the potential to play a very important role in sustainable ecological development. When we talk about sacred groups, uh, we talk about association of numinous significance to natural environment, and it's a component of the ancient Indian knowledge system. All of us know that in India, nature is part of our existence, and it is venerated in different forms. So, talk about rivers, talk about trees, talk about mountains. You talk about anything, any part of nature, and it is considered very very sacred. And in our traditional system, we venerate it in different forms. So there are different kinds of cultural and religious practices associated with natural environment. So in India, there are around 14,000 reported sacred groups, forest fragments, water bodies, land patches, and mountains. And they are considered sacred in the sense their commercial exploitation is not allowed. And that's why they serve as biodiversity hotspots and play a crucial role in conserving rare plants and animal species. Of course, they are built on taboos and restrained use, which might sound illogical and irrational to the modern mind. But if we look at their benefits, obviously, uh, we can contain that our understanding uh, is limited, and that is why we are terming them as taboos and so on and so forth. But sometimes taboos might also be good, and so sacred groups declared as taboos um, is a welcome thing in the sense these particular hotspots are preserved by people and they are not disturbed. So activities like hunting, logging, they are completely banned in these sacred groups. Well, when we talk about sacred groups, probably they are a little different from the concept of the West, virgin forest or so, because this is not completely banned for the human access, but then the humans preserve it and uh, revere it rather than exploiting it. So there are other forms of forest use like honey and date collection, and they are only allowed on a sustainable basis. So uh, over exploitation is always avoided in these sacred groups. uh, the forest is protected and the biodiversity flourishes as the flora and fauna are associated with the manifestation of divinity. So when we declare something divine, we worship it rather than harming it. So these sacred groups, as I mentioned, 14,000 identified ones and many more. Uh, They are wonderful hotspots where ecological balance is being maintained by preserving the wonderful biodiversity of plants and species. So there is also, a belief that there is some kind of guardian angel that you know uh, um, guards it, that takes care of it, and such custodian spirits are often referred to as Kshetrapala or Yaksha. Kshetra is region, and Pala is somebody who takes care of that. So, there are some guardian or angel spirits. It is believed that they guard them, these sacred groups, and don't allow the greedy people to enter them and, um, harm them. So, if we talk about the largest sacred group in India, um, the ones that are there, one is there in my state only, is called Haryali near uh, Gochar in Chamoli district of Uttarakhand. There is another one, Devdar group in Sipin near Simla in Himachal Pradesh. Um, these sacred groups are wonderful hotspots of ecological preservation, biodiversity hotspots, and conservation efforts involve restrictions on logging, hunting, and other such destructive activities within the group. So, these two are so beautifully, promoted through a very acclaimed recent movie. The name of the movie is Kantara. It is available in English subtitles as well. So you can watch and you can see how these ecosystem people uh, have been fighting to keep their sacred grooves sacred, to preserve them from the greedy and cunning ways of the commercial people. So this movie presents the idea of a sacred grove and how it aids in the ecological conservation and sustainability. And I would request all of you to watch this movie. Now, in conclusion, I can say that if we combine the traditional ecological knowledge and sacred groups, certainly, they will result in sustainability of ecosystems, biodiversity, and cultural heritage as well. So, Indian models of environmentalism serve as an antidote to the colonial practices of forestry, which considered the native people as a threat to the cause of environmental protection. Rather, we believe that these ecosystem people, of course, their existence is dependent on these natural resources, but they have over generations evolved a system of conservation and a system of consumption of these natural resources in such a way that it is sustainable and sustaining rather than causing any kind of destruction to nature. So this Indian model of environmentalism can certainly help the rest of the world as well, although the material circumstances differ. So there are countries where resources are more, population is less, so they can probably declare a particular uh, a particular forest, a virgin forest, a no man's land. But in a country like India, which is so thickly populated with so many diverse tribes and indigenous people whose lives are intertwined with their uh, immediate environment and nature, obviously, more sustaining and sustainable practices are those that don't separate them from nature, but rather considers them as an integral part of it. So, moral imperatives put forth through the traditional knowledge and sacred groups beliefs begets a community-based conservation where people have stake in protecting the very environment that sustains their lives. And this is being practiced in India, and this can serve as uh, one of the sustaining and sustainable ecological models for the rest of the world as well. So thank you very much for your patient hearing, patient listening, and this is all I wanted to share with you on this topic. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, sir, for a brilliant lecture. Dear participants, the session is open to questions. Please post if you have any.
Thank you very much, Dr. Dubey.
Sir, I guess your lecture was very lucid, and our participants are still in your awe. And so I don't want to disturb them. So I would like to hand over the platform to Dr. Arina Nazneen, convener IFJP, to propose vote of thanks.
Good afternoon, sir. I'm Dr. Arina. Thank you, sir, for a so insightful lecture that you have delivered on my favorite topic, ecosystem and sustainability of natural environment. A very good afternoon to everyone. I believe it is a great honor and privilege to acknowledge the support of all those who contributed diligently to make this session on SAARC and sustainability a remarkable one. Sir, I think there is one question. No, no, not a question. Anyway, on the behalf of the Department of Languages, I extend my deep sense of gratitude and appreciation to the speaker of the day, Professor Nagendra Kumar from IIT Roorkee, a gem of literature, for a very illuminating and insightful lecture on literature and sustainable development. It is one of the most emerging trends in English literature. Thank you, sir, as you have unfolded this event into your might be hectic schedule and appraised us with your insightful talk on today's topic to describe to us how to be sustainable with the natural world. Your talk on TEK, traditional ecological knowledge, the use of flora and fauna, and the contribution to, to the medicinal impact is so informative. Your suggestion and idea of the way of climate change adaptation, ecosystem restoration, like the restoration of degrading landscape and water conservation, these actions are so really the best solution for sustainability of the nature. Dear Professor, your lecture has definitely familiarized all of us with a number of worthy and interesting ideas and key concepts of traditional ecological knowledge. Your scholarly intervention into the sphere of current trends has given us an opportunity to navigate across uncharted territory. Sir, your deep and intellectual way of imparting knowledge has beautifully added a glory to this international faculty development program. Thank you, sir. Your
Thank you.
thoughts
My pleasure.
not only your thoughts not only stimulated our mind but opened many new avenues for further research on the specific area. Further, I would
My,
like to
my
extend my
gratitude to the organizers for giving me this opportunity. I would have loved to, interact with some of the participants. The only limiting factor is, when we are talking just to our monitor, and we don't
actually, sir.
happen to see anybody. This is something which is limiting. But I guess those who are part of it, they benefited from my talk. So thank you
No, sir.
very
It
much
is not a
all of you.
So it is not a limited platform, it is a platform from this from through which everyone can watch you. You are available, this particular program is available on YouTube channel, and everyone who want to access this particular topic, they can access on this and can get information from it. So sir, our participants are also attached with you, they are watching you, and they are getting information from your insightful lectures. So it is not limited and confined, it is for everyone who want to watch it, and it is recorded for the future use also.
Okay,
Thank you
thank you.
sir for your
Thank you very
okay.
much. Thank you.
Okay, sir. Further, I would like to thank Professor Akhil Ahmed, sir, Director, Human Resource Center, for providing a rostrum for this event. I also wish to extend my sincere gratitude to Head of the Department of Languages, Professor H.M. Arif Nadvi, for his constant support and valuable suggestions needed to continue our journey towards excellence. Thanks are due to my partner, Ms. Vanya Srivastav, uh, the convener of IFDP, who has been tirelessly working to make all the sessions of this event a really remarkable one. With a profound sense of appreciation, I thank all the organizing member of the International Faculty Development Program for their active involvement and willingness to take on the completion of this task out of their hectic schedule. Thank you, participant, for being with us. Have a remarkable day ahead. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
And sir, in future, we are focusing your contribution for our department
Sure.
also. From time to time,
Yeah.
we would contact with
Thank
you for taking some informations
thank you.
and lectures. Thank you, sir. Thank you.